My name is Laura Ruprecht, and I am from the Rockville, St. Cloud area. And I've been born and raised here and went to school here, and yeah, I'm a local girl. So what I do for a living is I'm an artist. For almost 10 years, I was employed at the Paramount Center for the Arts and was the exhibitions coordinator and did a lot of exhibits. But I mean, on top of it too, I was also an artist. So with the pandemic and everything, I lost my job, and I took the lemon and made lemonade out of it, and I made a business, and I started doing mosaics, and so that's what I do now. Is I do my mosaic business. So a mosaic is basically something where a mosaic can be made out of anything. So you can take, it's something called tesserae. So you can take seashells, you can take broken glass, you can take broken dishes, you can even do mosaics out of paper if you wanted to. But what it is it's having either it's broken or you can pre-cut it, whatever you want to do, and you take those pieces and you rearrange them in a way that it makes another picture. So what I do in the case of what I do is I use stained glass, and for most of it I do break it, I do cut it myself. But a lot of times I shape it too, so I have grinders, I have tools, different tools to help me make the shapes, to rearrange them to make them into a bigger picture. So I'll use different colors just to give you that imagery and everything. So yeah, that's what I do, is just make pictures out of broken stuff. When I worked at the Paramount, they were commissioned to do a piece for the St. Cloud Hospital. And the entire piece was supposed to involve or just kind of help honor people who have given life to other people by organ donation. And so this is something that the St. Cloud Hospital always wanted in their facility. And so when they commissioned the Paramount to do that, and I had to help in designing it and creating it, it wasn't until I was helping create some of the animals on it, because basically the tribute or the honorarium of the organ donations, it's basically like a glass on glass mosaic, so it's 5 feet by 7 feet, and it's of a tree with a bunch of life, and it's supposed to be the Mississippi River. And so I kind of was working with glass already and really liked it, and it wasn't until I was working on some of the animals that were incorporated on that mosaic, and I was thinking, like, this is my method, this is my process. I know how, like, it just kind of clicked in my head on how I just knew that this was for me, like this worked, because when I was in college, I made a lot of the pieces that I painted were already kind of disassembled, and somehow I wanted them to be together again. So for an example, I did a portrait of myself, and I took different angles of my body and then painted those on different canvases, and then they were kind of put together as one big portrait basically, but they're like kind of still disconnected. And I always like the breaking, the disconnect, and then putting it back together again. I always had an artistic background, and like, I think I had a lot of teachers tell me I was creative, but I was never into sports. I was never like wanting to do that. I never had an interest in it, but I was always excelling at music. So I was always into band and choir and drumline and marching band. Like, that was my jam. And then I was dabbling a little bit in art club, but like, art wasn't really my thing. It was just, I knew that going into college, that's what I wanted to graduate in, was an art degree. Because I knew in my heart that I was passionate about it, and that I thought I was good at it, and that I wanted to learn more. And so, like, I wasn't really surrounded by creative people. I guess as a young kid, I was always creative. Like, every day I would make something, either if it was cooking a meal for myself or playing outside and making a fort, or like just always dabbled into making something with my hands. And it was just, I don't know, it just kind of kept on evolving into, meeting people along the way. That's kind of what life is too. You just kind of find your niche as you kind of grow up too. Yeah, I think that's an internal struggle that every artist has, is just giving you that title of being an artist, because it's, I still have a hard time saying like I'm an artist, because it's sometimes it can be like it can sound kind of prestigious, and sometimes it's just like, well, I just do what I do. Like, why do I have to put a title to it? So, I mean, yes, I think now, especially now, having my business and this is all that I do, is, yes, I do feel like I'm more of an artist now. When I was kind of just dabbling and trying to find my voice and trying to find, like, what I actually want to do and my medium of choice, it was kind of hard to say I was an artist, because I was all over the place. I just felt like I was more of a creative being. Like, I love to create, I love to make things, either if it was crafty or if it was more of the fine art side. Like I said, it's just more being creative. But now, again, like, with being solely focused on what I do, it's like, yes, this is my artist. Like, I'm an artist. But everybody's an artist, though, too, when you think about it. And that's something that, especially when I've taught classes, is I always want to stress that people are artists, and you are creative, and you're not just born with a talent, that you have to work at it, just like if you're practicing to play basketball or, bow hunting or something. I don't know, like, it takes practice. It's like you have to really fine-tune your craft, and it's not that you're born with it. You might have like a little bit more creative juices than other people, or you just tap into it more, but everybody's got it, for sure. So I think with that question, there's still doubt today. I think that's just something that comes along with being an artist, is just that self-doubt, comparing your artistry and you as an artist to other artists. It's just, you're like, am I good? Is this good? Being an artist on your own is such a lonely world, because you're so like focused and deep into your thing, and it's hard to find that community surrounding you to let you know, like, kind of an accountability buddy, kind of a check person to be like, yeah, you need to work on this a little bit more. This is what you're doing now is not good. So, I mean, you're always kind of self-doubting yourself. And for me, getting an art degree, being creative in high school, and then even doing what I'm doing now, like, there has always been that doubt, but there's always been like something deep within my soul that I knew that I needed to continue to do this, no matter how much I was getting put down and no matter how discouraging it got. Because it gets so discouraging sometimes, but if it's something that you love to do, you're going to keep on pursuing it, and it will work out in the end, one way or another, or the path will clear for you at some point, because it has to, So I think with my inspiration, it's always come from, it's very internal. It's kind of a reflection of how I process the world, and how experiences that I have gone through, and how I want to kind of reinterpret it so that other people could understand it. And so a lot of my own personal pieces are very much autobiographical. Like, they're much about a story that I want to tell about myself. And it's very nature driven, because, when I grew up, I played in the woods. I was always outside, barely watched TV. Like, everything was so, like, just nature driven, and so it's so weird how I just kind of came about with birds, because, like, birds are my thing. Like, I just ended up being a bird lady. And I think it was just because, like, I've always been so fascinated. Like, I grew up Catholic, and so in Catholicism, there's a lot of symbolism within the Bible, within, like, the catechism and the teachings and everything. And even though I don't practice my religion at all that I grew up with, I took a lot of those stories, or the different animals that are depicted in those stories, and took that symbolism as a way to kind of help tell my story in my pieces, if that makes sense. Or a lot of the times, some of my inspiration comes from just animal behaviors, because they can mimic so much of human behavior. And so, like, for example, there is a piece that I did of cedar waxwings that are kind of going around in a circle, and I was inspired because in nature, they are a very social bird, and they pick these berries during the winter, and then they'll, in assembly line, like, pass the berry one by one, like, down a branch. And so I was kind of, like, thinking about the times now where we do need to start working together, and I was thinking, like, this is a piece about that, about, like, how we're connected in a circle, because it's all around in a circle, and that's one of my favorite shapes, is a circle, even though it's, like, the hardest shape to make out of glass. But I love the circle idea so much, just because, like, we're all in a circle of life. We're all, like, it all comes back of a death, rebirth, kind of cycle. And it's much like what glass is. It's like, you know, it's once whole, you break it, and then you put it back together again as a whole new thing. Like, so everybody's always in that constant cycle. And so with the cedar waxwings, getting back to that, like, that's kind of what I wanted, is that, you know, we all work together. We're all in a circle. We're in, you know, like, we're passing this together. We're working together. And that's kind of my inspiration. I think the reason is because, you know, with painting, I felt very limited because it's so flat. It's so flat. And then, like, I remember my college professor saying that she was from Scotland, so she had a Scottish accent, and I just absolutely loved it when she talked, because she was also very quirky. But and I can't mimic her accent, but she said I was the type of artist that liked to use a lot of paint. Like, I love to use paint, so she was, like, very encouraging for me to think of painting in a pasto way, which is using, like, basically thick paint, oil paint, and then using a palette brush to kind of, like, work with it. And it's kind of like finger painting, because I wanted to touch the paint, but I didn't like that I needed to use a tool to spread it around. Even though I liked painting, I loved using colors and stuff, but it just didn't make sense in my head. And so coming back again to the whole things that are apart and putting them. It was this summer, I got a Facebook invite to the soft opening that was for artists only to be coming in, and so I brought my partner with me, and we went to go visit the facility and kind of networked with some other artists, and it's kind of like the rest is history. I mean, I'm so excited to be able to be one of the artists to help decorate that building, the outside of it, with this huge commission. I'm so thankful for it. And to really, like, help jumpstart my business with doing this. And I'm excited to see how Art of Motion's gonna be, especially, you know, like, because I felt like we were both in the same boat, where Art of Motion started in a pandemic, I started in a pandemic, I wanted them to thrive, you know, like, they wanted me to thrive, and it was just, like, this collaborative thing. So I'm just so excited for them, because I have so many ideas, too, to help them along, especially with some of the experience that I've had with the Paramount and with them moving forward, and like, you know, with classes, everything. So that's how I learned about them, and I'm just really excited. My very first reaction was, good for you. Finally, this is something that needed to happen. And I think that was definitely, like, my first reaction. And, you know, I really didn't know, like, before going to the soft opening, I really didn't know what to expect. I kind of thought it would be kind of like a shed, and it would be like once in a while things would be going on. I didn't think that that they were dreaming of it trying to be a very vibrant, you know, building where people are coming and going, and that, you know, there's just always things going on, and that was actually going to be that busy. And I thought, this is so cool. And not only that, that this is so cool for something that people of all ages can do, because, I mean, I can't tell you how many times that I've told my friends, like, you gotta go there this summer. You gotta go, like, you know, it's a starting point, or you can, like, it's a destination point. You can start there with your bike. You can go on the trail, come back, get some ice cream, look at some art, chat with some people, and then you're on your way. You had such a great experience, you know, like, I mean, there's just so much to offer. I can't believe it, like, with the pollinator gardens, and then, like, the maze, and then, like, a little restaurant and cafe, and then there's, you know, like, you can sit outside, and it's just in such a gorgeous spot. I'm just so excited about it. Like, I wish I lived closer. Yeah, there's, well, I mean, I'm 33 now, and so, I mean, I, I think, I think if I was younger, or I guess this is something that I tell a lot of people, because I work with a lot of students from St. Cloud State University at the Paramount, and what I always told them was, don't be so hard on yourself, and to just keep going, like, just keep following your heart. Like, that's something that I try to tell myself all the time, is that if this is something that I really want to do, and if this is something I'm passionate about, like, it will find its way. It will always find its way. And it might not be the way that you thought it would be, but there's a reason as to why the universe is working in your favor this way. And it will find you. So I think definitely just don't give up. And don't try too hard either, because you want to be genuine. As an artist, it's really hard to get lost, or it's really easy to get lost into, you know, like, working so hard and being a yes person and saying yes to every opportunity, but then you start to lose your voice. And so it's really important to be true to yourself and learn to say no when it's too much, because as an artist, it gets to be where people always want, like, free stuff from you, and it's like, no, my time is so valued. Like you need to be valued as an artist, and it's not like everything should be like a free thing, you know. So don't be taken for granted. Work hard and be genuine. That's what I got. You can contact me through my website, www.lauralizmosaicbiz.com. You can also email me at laura@lauralizmosaicbiz.com. And you can also please like my Facebook. I'm on Facebook, so please like my page. And I'm also on Instagram, so please follow what I do on both those social media platforms.